Consider the following statements regarding Charter Act of 1853. Which of these are incorrect? 1. It introduced local representation for the first time in the Legislative Council. Second, it ended the activities of East India Company as a commercial body. Answer A, B. The activities of East India Company as a commercial bodies were ended by a Charter Act of 1833. It introduced for the first time local representation in the Indian Central Legislative Council. Of the 6 new legislative members of the Governor General's Council, 4 members were appointed by the local provincial governments of Madras, Bombay, Bengal and Agra. Next, consider the following statements. Identify correct statement. 1. Charter Act of 1853 introduced local representation from Madras, Bombay, Bengal and Sindh. Second, the Indian Councils Act of 1861 gave recognition to the portfolio system. The portfolio system was introduced in 1859 by Lord Canning. Answer B. The local representation was introduced from Madras, Bombay, Bengal and Agra. Canning had introduced the portfolio system in 1859 that divided into several branches which entrusted to different members of the Governor General's Council. It also envisages that the member in charge of his department could issue final orders with regard to matters which concerned his department. The Indian Councils Act 1861 recognized the portfolio system introduced by Lord Canning. Under the system, a member of the Viceroy's Council was made in charge of one or more departments of the government and was authorized to issue final orders on behalf of the Council on matters of this department. Next, consider the following statements regarding recommendations of the Simon Commission. Which of these are incorrect? Abolition of diarchy. Second, extension of responsible government in the province. Answer: both statements are correct. Next, which of these statements is correct regarding the Government of India Act 1935? It abolished the Council of India established by the Government of India Act 1909. It provided for the adoption of diarchy at the centre. Answer B. The Council of India was established by the Government of India Act 1858. Next, consider the following statements. Which of these are correct? 1. Cripps' proposal was rejected by the Muslim League. Second, the Cabinet Mission rejected the idea of 2 constituent assemblies. Answer C. Next, consider the following eminent person and committees they chaired. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? 1. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Constituent Assembly. Second, G.V. Mavlankar, Legislative Assembly. 3. Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. 4th, States Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Answer D. The Fundamental Rights Subcommittee was chaired by J.B. Kripalani. Sardar Patel headed the Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas. This committee had Fundamental Rights Subcommittee as one of the 5 subcommittees. Whenever the Assembly met as the constituent body, it was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and when it met as a legislative body, it was chaired by G.V. Mavlankar. Next, consider the following statements. Which of these is incorrect? 1. The preamble was enacted after the objective resolution was passed. Second, the Constitution of India was adopted and enacted on 26 January 1950. Answer C. The preamble is based on objective resolution which was moved by Nehru in December 13, 1946. However, the preamble was enacted after the entire Constitution was enacted. The Constitution was adopted and enacted on 26 November 1949. Next, consider the following statements. Which of these statements are correct? 1. The Constitution originally had 395 articles and 10 schedules. Second, H.V.R. Iyengar was the secretary to the Constituent Assembly. Answer B. Originally, the Constitution had 395 articles and the 8 schedules. Next, consider the following statements. Identify correct statements. Idea of Constituent Assembly was put forward for the first time by M.N. Roy. Second, INC for the first time officially demanded a Constituent Assembly in 1935. Answer C. Next, consider the following statements regarding Constituent Assembly. Identify correct statements. 1. Each provide and princely states were allotted seats in proportion to their population. Second, the principal communities Muslim, Sikhs, depressed classes and general were allocated seats in proportion to their population. Answer A. The principal communities Muslim, Sikhs and general were allocated seats in proportion to their population. Next, consider the following statements. Identify correct statements. 1. The members of Constituent Assembly were indirectly elected. Second, the Constituent Assembly was constituted under the Cabinet Mission Plan. Next, the first meeting of Constituent Assembly was not attended by Muslim League and princely states. Answer हो जाएगा D.